You ready? You ready? Here we go.
You don't roadmap the 1AC.
Oh, sorry.
Have you all learned anything?
I'm sorry.
For the 1AC, you just have a stack of
I'm really
paper.
tired, and there's been a lot of
No, it's your fault. Why male model? The why male model?
Advantage 1 is competitiveness. Current restrictions and limits on the H-1B program are crashing U.S. competitiveness. Innovation and growth fixing the program is necessary to maintain strong U.S. position globally. This is Singh, writer, editor, content strategist for CNBC in 18. Highly educated foreign entrepreneurs have started looking at alternatives. Immigration is critical for the U.S. economy and our nation's competitive position. Increased restrictions and rejections have companies worried. For decades, the U.S. has attracted some of the best and brightest. They are starting to see the reverse. Foreign students are returning home. This will adversely impact U.S. innovation. The U.S. has seen its share of tech unicorns drop dramatically. If we keep on going the path we're on, China will have more tech unicorns. Once that happens, China will eat our lunch. Anti-immigration policies will hurt American workers, noting that for every H-1B worker, 5 jobs created, people will start to be here if they have a choice. The problem is we don't give them a choice, and limiting H-1Bs kills the U.S. economy in a vital sector. H-1Bs have a multiplier effect that creates jobs and innovation. This is global in Asia, the University of Singapore's foundation in 17. Based on historical trends, the tech sector has a strong impact on global economic growth of a country. Trump's decision to review the visa allowance already appears to be having an impact. The move may be misguided if you leave U.S. companies paying more for IT consultants. Furthermore, it may not be as simple as replacing Indian IT consultants with U.S. ones. The bigger problem is there are not many idle U.S. IT workers. They are close to zero. Trump's decision in the long term could have major and other macroeconomic implications. And U.S. economic competitiveness prevents great power war. This is Colby and Let's out 14. American leadership and engagement remain essential. The U.S. must compete. If it competes well, it can restore not only its economic health, but also its strength for the long haul. Experts have not yet taken a clear-eyed look at the data and objectively analyze America's competitive position. If the U.S. wants the international system to continue to reflect its interests and values, a system in which the global commons are protected, trade is broad-based, extensive, and armed conflicts among great nations are curtailed, that will require acknowledging the uncomfortable truth that global power and wealth are shifting. Preserving America's international position will require it to restore its economic vitality and make policy choices now that pay dividends. Tech innovation alone deters global conflict. This is Taylor, professor of political science in 04. Tech innovation is of central importance to the study of IR, affecting almost every subfield. A nation's tech capability has significant effect on its growth, industrial might, and military prowess. Tech necessarily influences the balance of power, and hence have a role in calculations of war and alliance formation. History tells us that nations on the technological ascent generally experience a corresponding dramatic change in their global stature and influence. The importance of tech innovation is seldom disputed by IR theorists. Tech is the very cornerstone of great power domination, and its transfer the main vehicle by which war and change occur. And decline of relative economic power triggers great power war, undermines international order, Khalil Azad 11. Other major powers' economies are growing faster than ours. This could affect alter the global distribution of power. The closing of the gap could intensify global geopolitical competition and undercut our will to preclude or respond to international crises. Multipolar systems have been unstable with competitive dynamics resulting in major wars amongst the great powers. American retrenchment could have devastating consequences. There will be a heightened possibility of arms races, miscalculation, or all-out conflict. Hostile states could be emboldened to make aggressive moves. A stable economic condition at home has enabled America to have an expansive role in the world. And U.S. superiority is key to deter great power wars. Contain pro-live, beat up the terrorists. This is Brands and Edelman distinguished professors John Hopkins in 17. America confronts military and geopolitical challenges more numerous and severe than at any time in at least a quarter century. The result is a crisis of American military primacy. As Washington's margin of superiority is diminished and the gap between U.S. commitments and capabilities grow, the U.S. must be able to answer the sharpest challenges of the international system because prevailing global norms reflect hard power realities. America would need superiority to assure its own values remain ascendant. If Washington cut back too far, U.S. primacy would erode to a point where it ceased to deliver geopolitical benefits. Stability of key regions would be eroded. International crises would go unaddressed. China and Russia are seeking regional hegemony. Iran remains a nuclear threshold state. Washington still possesses more military power than any challenger, yet the balance of power between the U.S. and China may be approaching a series of tipping points. This erosion has profound implications for American strategy. Advantage 2 is U.S.-India. H-1B limits and restrictions threaten overall U.S.-India relations and antagonizes the growing strategic bilateral partnership. This is GIA again in 17. The impact of tightened H-1B visas could have implications for bilateral relations. U.S. foreign direct investment in India stood at $28 billion in 15, while 100 Indian companies made $15 billion worth of tangible investments. It may not be a wise economic move to force out these Indian IT companies. Should U.S. firms shift, this U.S. could see a loss of its IT jobs. Modi has been lobbied strongly to take H-1B visa matter up with Trump. Trump's move could provide Modi with a powerful bargaining chip in other bilateral negotiations. The U.S. relationship with India is strategically important. Both share a common threat in China's rise. Trust has a lot of stake in approaching H-1B issue. Trump should be mindful about antagonizing growing trade partner and strategic ally, especially since India is expected to be the world's fifth fastest growing economy. And it's the foundation of overall U.S.-Indian relations, cooperation on other issues, and limited by fights over H-1Bs because they build economic and personal ties between the countries. This new India Express, citing former U.S. Ambassador to India in 2018. India and U.S. cannot be fighting every day on trade issues while cooperating on defense. Washington and New Delhi want an ambitious relationship. We need to focus on the economic side. Burgess spoke on topics including H-1B visas. H-1B visas are an important part of the overall people-to-people relationship, and highlighting the critical role of the diaspora and strengthening the relations. We have to increase our people-to-people connections, and we should be standing up for immigrants. And strong relations are key to spreading democracy globally and a stable Indo-Pac relationship. This is Rao and Berman 18. The U.S.-India relationship has tremendous potential. The two share a wide range of enduring long-term interests: economic prosperity, clean energy use, secure rules-based and stable Indo-Pacific region, a world in which democracy flourishes and reciprocal goodwill. The future is not a foregone conclusion. Neither is an ever closer partnership, fulfilling possibilities in a world where challenges to these values bound. The U.S. and India are increasingly indispensable democratic partners. The U.S. and India will face a difficult challenge to peace and stability in the Indo-Pacific region. The United States and India, as the world's two largest democracies, have a special role and responsibility to live up to their founding democratic principles. These spark untold areas of bilateral cooperation in the future. And Indo-Pac war escalates, would kill billions. This is Kekin 17. Billions could die if India and Pakistan start a nuclear war. The greatest possibility of nuclear war is the nuclear triangle. Pakistan, India, and China. The most dangerous flashpoint has been the Indo-Pakistani border. The two fought 3 major wars before. Armed skirmishes are a regular occurrence. The territorial dispute over Jammu and Kashmir. India's controversial conventional capabilities are vastly superior to Pakistan's. Miscalculation is South Asia's middle name. Technological changes might exacerbate the problem. India would hardly risk giving Pakistan the chance to carry out massive nuclear strike. Pakistani TNW's use would effectively free India to undertake a comprehensive first strike, and strong relations prevent democratic backsliding. They're on the brink. This is Iyer and Gilbert 18. Democracy is coming under renewed worldwide. Established democracies have been facing new populist nationalist challenges while others have spread backwardly. The U.S. and India, as the world's two largest democracies, must build a strong partnership that can help foster prospects of democracy. With both countries facing serious challenges to strengthen democracy, it is only natural the world's two largest democracies band together to help one another and others and continue the never-ending journey to deepen democracy and ensure that it is present for other delivery people. Global democratic backsliding is on the rise. This is Diamond and 17. The world is facing a crisis of liberal democracy. Freedom and democracy have been retreating. If they succeed, the world will be more hostile. The U.S. must counter expansive autocracy and reboot democratic values and ideas. We need to renew the core of what we are fighting for, our own democracy, and liberal democracy solves existential impacts. This is Kasparov 17. The existential threat today is not found on the map, but it's very real. Forces of the past are making steady progress. Terror, extremist parties across Europe, Korea, threatening nuclear blackmail, and aggressive Russia all want to turn the world back to a dark past before their survival is threatened. The global freedom index has declined for 10 consecutive years. America cannot lead the world in democracy if there is no unity. Democracy is the only proven remedy for nearly every crisis that plagues the earth. War, famine, poverty, terror are generated and exacerbated by authoritarian regime. America is required because there is no one closer, because it is good for America. There is no weapon or wall more powerful than America being envied, imitated, and admired around the world. The United States federal government should increase annual H-1B visa limit to escalate to meet demand and exempt spouses and children from the total visa limit. That proposal solves times of India at 18. Legislation that seeks to increase the annual H-1B limit. Taking these steps to foster a vibrant economy for entrepreneurs, increase access to high-skilled talent. U.S. businesses depend on attracting the best will help ensure the U.S. remains a leader in innovation and global competition. The bill creates a market-based escalator and changes the program matter. This is Camp Point 18. The H-1B visa is under siege. Trump's executive order suggests that H-1B should be more difficult to get. Obtaining a visa has already become quite cumbersome. One indicator is a spike in requests for evidence. Lawyers say they're getting unwarranted requests, and the bigger number data back their claim. For those awaiting work permits, an RFE is bad news. H-1B hopefuls will be watching.
How do you think that H-1B visas increase in Gemini?
That's like asking me step 1 and step 5. H-1B visas ensure that U.S. companies have access to the best and brightest and don't concern themselves with someone's nationality when they're hiring them. Removing the cap means that they can do that. Companies can do that. It improves our technology.
So it's about
it improves
workforce.
our standing. It's about more than workforce. It's about innovation. It is about workforce. It's about economic commitment.
Okay. I just have a question about the innovation argument. Your piece of tech innovation solves conflict seems to just be like when people like in the abstract develop technology, it means that they can cooperate better. Why do we need to develop technology in the U.S. for that to happen? Why can't it be developed in other countries?
I disagree with the first part of your sentence. It was a total mischaracterization.
What does it say then?
This card says the importance of tech innovation is seldom disputed by IR theorists. It's talking about the way that states cooperate. It says that states that lead in the tech are able to dominate in terms of great power and have the lead.
Okay, so it's just another hedge impact card.
No, I totally disagree. It's about a technological leadership, that if you have super weapons, and it's not just about weapons.
Okay, so why do those weapons need to be developed in the United States in order to deter conflicts?
Well, first off, we contend that the United States is necessary for that tech to happen because we are on the leading foundation.
People can't, there are people working at jobs and tech companies outside of the United States, and they do the same thing that people do here.
Obviously,
okay,
there's several
your
groups who want to see that we're leading the world so
Colby
they can
impact
catch up. But
your Colby piece of impact evidence says that we need to objectively analyze the data regarding hegemony. What is that data? Who made it? Where does it come from?
it comes from all the best sources.
Like?
That Colby and Lepp card, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
It just says that the U.S. wants the international system to be maintained. We need to make sure it has
right, and the
economic
warrant for
vitality.
that is we need to objectively analyze the data about U.S. leadership. What's that data?
No, actually quite the opposite. That card says that experts have not yet taken a clear-eyed look at the data.
That's literally what I just said. They have not looked at the data yet. What is that data?
Okay. This is saying the data doesn't exist, and all we have is empirical arguments.
So we don't. Okay.
We're going to talk about empirics a lot. You're going to talk about how Trump is bad, and that sort of stuff. We're going to say the math is not on your side.
Indo-Pac, how does that escalate?
There's several border disputes and also just cultural arguments that happen between.
There have been
India
all of those things
and
since 1947 when Pakistan was founded. Why hasn't it escalated yet?
A couple of reasons. One, the economic ties have slowly been growing in a very symmetric way.
Sounds like a reason there's no impact to your advantage.
What? Okay, so the second
democracy,
half, the second half of the
would
sentence
wars
that I didn't
occur?
get to finish was that if that symmetry gets off because China's building with Pakistan and the
Democracy,
United
I have
States,
15 seconds. Where do wars occur because we don't have democracy?
well, they happen in India and Pakistan because there's a major border dispute. You didn't let
So
me
you
explain.
mean where India and
but
Pakistan
in terms
are
of
already
democracy, they could happen anywhere. There's literally an autocratic uptick in government behavior because when dictators do stuff, it pisses their neighbors off.
Hold on.